Hello everybody! Before I start the video, I just wanted to hop in real quick to let you know that I just launched my first ever hiking guides. I'm making one for every trail I've done so far, and I've already made the one about the Skye Trail. They are no nonsense, to the point guides, and you can buy them digitally and or as a book at floordenil.com. That's all voiceover Floor wanted to say. Bye bye!
Hello! Welcome to the living room in Brussels. I rearranged my living room. We're in a corner now. We used to be there, now we're here. Well, voila. Hey, hello, hi, how are you doing? Today I'm sharing with you everything you need to know, in my humble opinion, if you want to hike the Skye Trail on the Isle of Skye in Scotland. I have a list of 10 subjects. Voila, if you know every subject, this is not an exam, but if you know every subject, you are ready to go to the Isle of Skye. If you want to know what gear I took with me, I already made a video on that you can watch on the channel. I will link it here somewhere, like in a corner. Without further ado, let's go. The first thing I'm going to talk about is how you can get to the trail. I have some good news because it's not hard. It is, in fact, easy. There is a bus driving between Glasgow and the Isle of Skye, which is like a 6-hour drive, and it stops at the beginning point of the trail, which is Broadford. So you can just take a direct bus from Glasgow, starting at Buchanan bus station, just going to Broadford. Really easy. It also stops in Fort William, so if you're coming from Fort William, you can just take the bus. A nice tip would actually be to hike the West Highland Way, which ends in Fort William, and then from there you can take a bus to Broadford and hike the Skye Trail. That would be a nice trip. If you want to go to Portree, which is the middle point of the trail, it's the exact same bus. Easy, easy, easy. And then coming back from the trail is also easy. When you reach Ruhunish, you walk back to a road and there is a bus station. There you take a different bus, like a more local bus, to Portree, and from Portree the options are endless. You can take many buses from Portree, under which also the bus going to Glasgow. If you want to take a more scenic route, you can take the train to Mallaig, and from there you can take a ferry to the Isle of Skye. But then from the Isle of Skye you still have to take a bus to the beginning of the trail. So it's more scenic because you're taking a boat, but it's a little more difficult to do it. Voila! That's getting to and from the trail. The second thing I'm going to talk about is where you can resupply, which is very easy. The Skye Trail is a 7-day, normally more or less, trail. And almost in the middle of the trail you pass Portree, and Portree has a store where you can resupply. So if you want to do a full self-sufficient trail, you can just take food for 3 or 4 days, depending on whether you start in the north or the south, and then resupply at Portree, and you're good to go. Easy, easy, lemon squeezy. Third thing I'm gonna talk about is not food, but is water. Many people are wondering if you pass enough water sources on the trail, and I have to say, in general, yes. You pass a stream here and there. Don't drink from the sea because it's salt water, but there are some streams here and there. However, there are many sheep in Scotland, so make sure that you bring a water filter or pills or anything to make sure you have clean, drinkable water. Now there is one stretch on the trail, which is the stretch, the big day. There is a big day on the trail of like almost 30 kilometers where you are walking over Trotternish Ridge, and there, I have to say, are not many water sources. So for that day, make sure you bring enough water to hike this day. The fourth thing I'm going to talk about is navigation, which is also a big topic when people talk about the Skye Trail, because the Skye Trail is not waymarked. There are no waymarks anywhere on the Skye Trail. Now this might sound hard, but if you look at the map of the Skye Trail, you can see that the trail mostly follows the coastline. So that makes it easier. It's not like you're in the woods with tens of thousands of trails that you can take a wrong turn or anything. More or less you're following the coast. And most of the time, I have to say 80% of the time, there is a trail that you can follow. I had less trouble navigating the Skye Trail than the Peaks of the Balkans Trail. And the Peaks of the Balkans Trail is waymarked. So that says something. And also if you bring a GPS, you're gonna be completely fine. That's on navigation. Ça va. I really have to say ça va. Ça va. And then I am going to talk about spending the night. First of all, if you want to hike the Skye Trail, it is necessary that you bring a tent because you pass by the Old Man of Store. There is no hostel or hotel or whatsoever. What you could do is take a shuttle from there because it's a quite touristic point. You can take a shuttle from there and sleep somewhere else and then get back to the trail the next day. But if you want to stay on trail, you're gonna have to camp there. The other places on the trail all have a hotel or a private B&B or a hostel or something like that. So something with beds. So there you can just sleep in a bed, but make sure that you book it beforehand because the later you book it, the more expensive it gets and they might be fully booked. So if you want to sleep in a bed, book it beforehand. Then we are at number 6, and 6 is watch out for wind. I feel like everybody always talks about rain when talking about Scotland and talking about the Isle of Skye, like, oh, rain, 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 rain. But the wind is something, please also keep it in mind. If you're camping somewhere and it might get windy during the night, put up your tent like somewhere sheltered because the wind, the wind is treacherous. I was so lucky when I hiked the Skye Trail because I got beautiful weather, but on my last day, when I wasn't thinking about wind or rain or anything anymore because I had such beautiful weather, the last day when I arrived at Ruahunish, I had one hell of a night. Wind, 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 waking up every 30 minutes to restake my tent, all that jazz. So please just keep in mind that it can get really windy on the Isle of Skye. You don't want to have the night that I had that night. You don't. Trust me. You don't. Some people were also wondering about gas, where you can buy gas. Of course, you can buy it at Glasgow. There are some adventure stores there. You can just buy your gas over there. You can also buy it at Portree. There's a really good adventure store in Portree. I loved it. I loved like looking at all the gadgets they had and like woo woo. It was full of hiking gear. And also actually Broadford has a small campsite. And the campsite has a little store and there you can also buy gas. So there's plenty of gas nearby the trail. Then, haha, a popular topic when talking about Scotland and the Isle of Skye is insects. The first insect you can and will definitely encounter on the Isle of Skye is the midge. The infamous midge, the midgies of Scotland. So midgies are small, not flies, not mosquitoes, midgies. They're small flies that bite you, and it's not that the bite of a midge is very dangerous or very annoying or something, but there's just a lot of midgies. So with a lot of midgies come a lot of midgies bites. Now, what you can do to avoid the midgies as much as possible is 1, be in the wind. Not even the wind, just a breeze is enough. Any movement is too much for a midge. So either you move or the wind moves and there are no midges. The second thing you can do is wear smidge. That's the local insect repellent against midges. It's one that doesn't contain DEET, so that's good for your body. And it actually works and it smells kinda nice. So before you get on the trail, just hop in a local shop and buy some smidge. Third thing you can do is wear long clothes, so long pants and a long sleeve shirt, because any fabric is too much for a midge. And for your head, you can wear a head net, and don't make the mistake I made, because I bought a head net with holes that are too big. So I was wearing it, and then I was looking, and I just saw the midges getting through the mesh of the net. So if you buy a net, there are always 2 kinds of nets. Buy the one that has the really small holes in the mesh. That's on midges. Another insect you can see on the trail are ticks. So ticks are everywhere. You cannot really do a lot to avoid ticks unless wearing clothes. Every evening just check yourself very profoundly on ticks and just be aware that there are a lot of ticks in the grass in Scotland, on the Isle of Skye, on the Skye Trail. And then another little small little tip is a mistake I made on electronics. It is to make sure that you don't forget your adapter to plug in the wall in Scotland. If you're from America, you probably are very used to packing this in your pack list, but I completely forgot it. If I travel to the Netherlands or to like Norway, France, Italy, it's all the same. And now I arrived in the United Kingdom and I was like, oh, I forgot my adapter. And it made it a little harder to charge my devices. So just don't forget to bring your adapter. That's the only thing I wanted to say. And then somebody asked a really fun question, actually. It's not anything you need to know before you hike the Skye Trail, but I was like, might as well answer it. Might as well answer the question. And that question was, Floor, what was your favorite camping spot on this trail? And I started thinking, I know what my favorite is, but I also know what my second favorite is, and I also know what my third favorite is, and these three are amazing camping spots. So I'm just gonna share my top three. Third place is the camping spot I found between Camasinary Bay and Elgol. There's another bay between these two places. There was nobody there, one other camper, but they were very far from me. I could have a swim in the sea. I had a little spring just next to my tent. I had a beautiful view. It was an amazing camping spot. There I already thought this is the best camping spot I'm gonna have for the whole trip, but that was not true. Because a couple of days later, I stayed in between the store and Portree. There I stayed on a spot that was just, that was really, I cannot put it into words how beautiful this camping spot was. It was surrounded by sheep. There was a beautiful sunset. There were mountains in the distance and I could see the sea and it was flat. It was amazing. But the day after I stayed at the most beautiful camping spot I ever stayed at in my entire hiking career, which is a camping spot right below Floddigary, looking onto the Quirang. I also got like a beautiful sunset there and just an amazing view. I cannot even, when I think back on it, wow. And the view that I had there when I was looking out of my tent is actually the front cover of the guide I made on the Skye Trail, which is, I briefly touched onto it in the beginning of this video, but I'm making a hiking guide for every hiking trail I did so far, which is like 8 trails. Now I've done 3, but I'm gonna do all 8 of them. And I also made a guide on the Skye Trail. The idea of the guides is that I want to make them as lightweight as possible, because the guides that I now currently use on the trail, I find them to be quite heavy and just filled with a lot of information that I don't actually need. So I only included the information that you really need on this trail. I made it as compact as possible. It contains a day-by-day explanation of the trail, maps, pictures, elevation profiles, some jokes, small tips that I have of the trail, and it's just all very easy to understand. There is no bullshit. That's how I like it. So if you want to get your hands on one, I am selling them digitally and in real life, and you can find them in my web shop. You can find them in my web shop, floordenil.com, where you can also find guides of the other trails I did. At the time I'm filming this now, the guides aren't printed yet, so I'm still like super, but voila, they're coming. They're coming. Okay. Enjoy the preparations of this hike. It's a beautiful one. I am praying for you that you have good weather, because that makes a complete difference on this trail. And enjoy the trail. Enjoy the landscapes, enjoy the hills. Or don't enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, don't force yourself to enjoy it. I'm gonna shut up now. Bye!
ben aan het lachen, maar ik lach niet. Wat is deze? Stop. Ja, dus er is al een van mijn haringen losgeschoten. Ik moest al opstaan om dat te maken. Er is een mug in mijn gezicht aan het vliegen. Ik ben al moeten opstaan om dat te maken. En dan... Wat is dit? Stop! Oh my god, ik wil dat het ochtend is. Ik wil opstaan. Oké, ik ga kalm blijven en de nacht overleven, maar deze is niet leuk. Deze is niet leuk. Ik denk dat er weer een haring is gesprongen. Yo!